On Daytime Update, in the 1 o'clock hour of the program, we'll bring in a security expert, get you a sense of where we are going wrong, what needs to be done to deal with this scourge. All right, from that province, let's take you to KwaZulu-Natal's Ballito now. Newzroom Afrika reported on escalating tension between a local taxi association and e-hailing services, including Uber and Bolt. In June, there was a claim that large amounts were being solicited from these services by the Dolphin Coast Taxi Association for the regulation of transport services in the Ballito area. The association has refuted these claims. Nobuhle Modise is tracking that story. She joins us now live. Nobuhle, again, this kind of tension between taxi associations and e-hailing platforms like Bolt and Uber are not new.
Indeed, they're not new. And in fact, Michelle, it's quite strange because Ballito is quite an affluent area. So most of the people here who are using, the normal minibus taxis are people from outside of Ballito who are coming into the area for work purposes. And the e-hailing services are mainly used by the residents of Ballito, as Ballito is not far from the King Shaka International Airport. But there seems to be tension there because the taxis are saying that these e-hailing drivers are now feeding into their market, making stops where they're not supposed to make stops. And these are the claims that they make. But the e-hailing drivers are saying that's not true, and large sums of money are being solicited for them as a result, and they want them to pay to be able to operate in the area. In fact, an e-hailing driver that I spoke to in June was telling me that the Taxi Association had been calling a number of meetings, and even with those meetings, they have to pay to enter those meetings. Let's take a listen to what they had to say.
Detected to the meetings, and then you never got even a time to raise your voice. Even sometimes they will ask you that if you were not present yesterday, if you want to enter the meeting, you must pay 200 rand so that you can be counted on the meeting.
As you can hear, Michelle, they have to pay money to get into those meetings, but that's not the only money that's needed from them. They also have to pay a once-off fee. It's been referred to as a once-off fee in order for them to operate, but they claim this isn't once-off because they have been paying large amounts of money. Let's continue to listen in.
Things carried on being engaged, and of which they resoluted on a 1,000 rand once-off fee, and of which most of the guys, they were willing, because we were saying, okay, fine, because these people, it seems they're not giving us peace. But if they say 1,000 rand once-off fee, then we sent everything, our names and everything. But on the next meetings, of which they popped out another executive caucus, and then they said, no, what's been spoken before, they abolish it. They're the ones also in charge of the associations. They don't care whoever will say what they want now. They need 20,000. Who doesn't have 20,000 must leave.
Now, Michelle, following that report, the e-hailing drivers unfortunately have not wanted to be on camera. They've refused to speak to us, saying that following that report that we did in June, the tensions escalated and they were even physically attacked, which is something that's not new to them. And this is why we are unable to speak to some of the e-hailing drivers here today, because they do fear for their lives. And this is an ongoing thing, and we will be getting to the bottom of this. We did speak to the Dolphin Coast Taxi Association as well, and as I've mentioned, they've refuted all these claims, saying that they're not soliciting any money from these e-hailing drivers. All they want is for them to operate within the confines of the law.
And what does that look like? I mean, if they're saying they want them to operate within the confines of the law, according to the Dolphin Coast Taxi Association, how might they not be doing so now?
That means they're not allowed to pick up any customers, for example, from the lifestyle centers that are around the area. They're only meant to pick up customers that they receive from their apps, whether it's Bolt or Uber. And that is what they are saying they are fighting. They claim that these e-hailing drivers are now standing outside of these centers waiting for those who would usually take taxis, but they would wait outside at these malls so they can give them a ride with their vehicles. These are the claims from the Taxi Association. But the e-hailing drivers also say that's not true. According to them, they are being asked to pay money just to be able to operate in the area.
Okay, so it's obviously a case of He said. In terms of what police are saying about the issue, because obviously we know that in this industry in particular, when tensions like this arise, they can spill over, affect commuters, even result in violence. Are police there aware of these tensions?
Very little cases are reported, and when I spoke to e-hailing drivers, what they say is that they're afraid to report this because they claim that the Taxi Association is working with some members of the SAPS, and this is why when these kind of things happen, it's either they stop operating at all or they risk their lives and continue hoping that nothing will happen to them. So the number of reported cases out there are quite few, mainly because of fear and the e-hailing drivers claiming that the Dolphin Coast Taxi Association is working closely with police.
Nobuhle Modise, thanks very much indeed.